sweet. I just
Carmen's
peeked
like...
my mic. Okay, so we wanted to start this off by maybe talking about vacations, right? And like the vacation and the trip that we just went on.
Which was awesome.
It was one of those trips where it was hard to come back home.
It was so hard to come back.
Yeah.
I was like looking at pictures on the way home and I was like tearing up.
Really?
Or no, it wasn't pictures. It was the brochure. Because they gave us the brochure to book in September or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to close it.
Yeah, so we stayed at the Boardwalk Plaza Hotel in Rehoboth Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, I couldn't remember the name of the hotel. I wanted to call it like the Belvedere for some reason, because I guess in Baltimore, there's a really like kind of old school hotel just like that called the Belvedere.
When you said that, I thought you were thinking of like Atwater's, Belvedere Square.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny is I didn't even think about that.
Really?
It didn't even occur to me.
It was like the first thing I thought of when you said that. I was like, oh, Atwater's.
Yeah. Well, I don't even associate like Belvedere Square with Atwater's anymore. I kind of associate it with like, you know, having to go to like working, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and the smell of bacon in the morning, the sweet smell of bacon.
I thought you were going to say like getting drunk.
Well, that I don't remember.
Yeah, you said, what was the acronym? I was like, BP.
Yeah, you're
Boardwalk
like, just
Plaza.
remember BP. And I was like,
what does that have?
a gas station? Why would I remember that? Like, how's that going to help me remember the name of this hotel?
Did you ever find a way to remember it, or did it just burn itself?
When you said boardwalk and it's on the boardwalk, I was like, oh, yeah. Duh. So.
Good, so I did help.
Yeah, you did.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
Man, you know, there were so many awesome parts, but I think, you know, I really enjoyed like when we kept the sliding glass door open, and we were listening to the waves, and we put on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
It's like little moments like that, you know.
Yeah, the first one, by the way.
Yeah,
the only good one.
Don't watch the second one.
Don't watch the second one.
We didn't even finish it.
We didn't. Yeah. I couldn't. It was just like,
yeah.
you know, it's like somebody's trying to spoon feed you sugar, and you're like, it's not. I'm done. Like I don't want any more. No, and they're like, no, you're gonna love it. Like,
I compare it to cinnamon, not sugar. Sugar you can get down.
Yeah, but too much of it though. You know what I mean? It was almost like the little funny moments or the goofy moments or whatever. It was like, I don't know. It was just too much.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Everything was just bad.
Yeah.
But that, I could talk a long time about all of the horrible things with that movie. But yeah, the first one was great.
We can talk about whatever we want. That's true.
This could turn into a podcast about how shitty Pirates of the Caribbean 2 was. And we didn't even see the whole thing.
Well, it's funny because the first one was so good that, you know, I remember back in the day, we... I think my mom took my sister and I to go see the second one. And I just remember
you saw
being
it in
like,
theaters?
Yeah, because the first one was so good. So you're like, well, this one's got to be good too, right? And no, not at all.
I didn't know you saw it.
It's funny when you know that a movie is like bad. It's almost like when you're in a restaurant and you can just tell like, oh, this isn't gonna go well. Like nobody's come and talk to me in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like this, I should leave, but I feel compelled to stay for some reason. Like, like if I get up and leave, I'm being rude, even though nobody's talked to you in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you gotta like sneak out, you know?
Right.
Like you're trapped.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. It
just goes to show, too, that it's not just, like, the actors that are in a movie, you know? That's why I kept saying, like, who made this? Because
All-star
it was,
cast,
like,
pretty
all
much.
of the actors are amazing, and even, like, Johnny Depp. Like, I felt like I was watching, like, a high school play. Like, all of these people are just like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, but I feel like, yeah, you're right.
Like,
but a high school play, you can be like, well, it's a high school play.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
But...
You were saying the thing that you didn't like the most about it was, or not the most, but one of the things.
The first thing I noticed.
Yeah, was like how clean their costumes looked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're pirates.
Yeah, he was like one of the first scenes of Johnny Depp. It's like the coffin is rolling out and like he's breaking through. And as soon as he came out, I was like, he looks immaculate. He's wearing a white shirt. There's not a stain on it. Like,
Yeah.
he's not sweaty. Like, yeah.
In the first one, he looked dirty. He looked like
so
a dirty
dirty.
rock star.
Yeah,
you know?
he did.
A dirty rock star. That's what we all wanted to see. Is that dirty rock star? But instead, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm at Disney World right now.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at somebody who's dressed up in a costume.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
It was funny, like Johnny Depp too. Like you said, looking at a rock star. I remember the first time I saw Pirates of the Caribbean 1. How old? How long ago did it come out? I'm trying to think about how old I was.
It was like high school time, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, anyway, I remember
for us.
I watched it with Allie next door. Shout out, Allie. And she was like, Orlando Bloom, wait until you see Orlando Bloom. It was the first time I had ever seen like Orlando Bloom or Johnny Depp. And I remember watching it like thinking I was weird for thinking Johnny Depp was hot because he was supposed to be like the dirty pirate. But I didn't know that he was like thought of as like an attractive person.
Yeah.
So when she was talking about Orlando Bloom, I was looking at Johnny Depp like, I think the dirty pirate's kind of hot. And then I told my mom, I was like, am I weird? She was like, no, that's Johnny Depp. Are you kidding me? He's gorgeous. I was like, okay, good.
Yeah, it's so funny. His breakout role was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think it's the same person.
Yeah, I've always liked Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
I'm glad that, whatever went on with him and, Miss Heard, you know what I mean? That's like, you don't know. You don't really know. Behind closed doors, you don't know, like, the full situation.
Yeah.
All you can do is, like, speculate, but it's...
Honestly, like, I feel like I never followed the story outside of other people talking about the story, like people on Joe Rogan, and then the thing that you showed me.
What's that?
Jack Sparrow.
Oh, the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? I can't remember the name of that. We'll have to find that. But yeah, who knows, man? But he's one of those actors that can you bring your mic just a little bit like
closer to me?
Yeah. Just that's probably good.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, okay. Just a little better. But like he's one of those actors that to me is like mystical in that sense where you feel like there's something behind it all. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he doesn't watch his movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just like a mysterious person.
Right.
And
even to himself. Her death will be a mystery, even to me.
Even to me, yeah. Secret Window.
I feel like I actually remember when I was watching Secret Window with my sisters, we were like, I feel like this is just who Johnny Depp is.
Yeah.
Like in that movie, especially because like he would be in a movie and you'd see like pictures of him on the street and that's what he would look like. That character, like the long hair and just like the robe.
Yeah, he's developed, he's accumulated many more scarves at this point. Scarves, yeah, just drapery. You know what I mean?
I thought you meant like medals or something. Like,
accessories. Yeah. Things that you don't actually need, but it's all just like flair. Yeah. Like
bracelets.
You
tried to wear bracelets for a while. You don't wear bracelets anymore.
Well, when they break, you know what I mean? It's like they break and then that's...
And when you shower, they just get dirty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I would never want to take them off, just like my earrings now. Like, I'd never want to take them out because it's a pain in the ass to try to put them back in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Keep them in.
Yeah. But.
Yeah. So yeah, Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And Vacation.
Yeah, so I guess another thing, too, that I thought about when, talking about vacations is just like the transformation that you go through in your mind. Like if you're somebody who likes to travel, it's like traveling and seeing new places is wonderful. It's one of those things though where I have to cope with it. I have to cope with the fact that I know that as you're going there, that, you're also going to be coming back too. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like when you're heading to a place
with this trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it's going to be like 2 or 3 days. It's like, it's not like 3 weeks when we went to Europe where it was like,
I'm ready to go home.
yeah, right?
Yeah, it
But
was
when
like,
it's like 2 days, basically, it's like,
yeah.
just goes by so fast.
Yeah, but so what I like about getting away is like I really feel like it helps your mind to just like think.
Yeah.
Like your mind can be free, in a way that it can't be when you're at home and you're in your like typical usual routine.
Mhm.
Um
That's definitely what I like about it too. Getting another routine, I think, is one of the main things.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's it. I mean, when you get out of your routine, it's like, especially we're both creative, we're both artists, you know, and I just think that you gotta get away in order to let your brain just be free to think about. That's how we thought about doing this podcast.
Mhm.
Is like I've got all the mics because I'm a musician. I
Mhm.
have all the recording equipment. We have 2 iPhones and a nice little DJI camera
Yeah, and this light.
and this bright ass
Which
light.
I didn't it's only really bright when you look at it. I thought it was gonna be really hard, but I forgot it was there, and then I looked at it, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, never
Yeah.
look at the light. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like not. Technically you're not supposed to look at the camera and everything too.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so getting away and letting your mind be free, it just really and like you have your routine. You go to the same places usually every day to work or the grocery store or the coffee shop
Or the park.
or the park. But you're still kind of trapped in a
Yeah.
way. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
100%.
not really, but you know,
You do it
like
to yourself.
you do it to yourself. You get in a routine and you're like, okay, this is, you take the same way home every day. And it's just because that's what we do instinctually for survival
Mhm.
so that we can think about, other things,
Yeah.
but routine is just like, and habit forming things. It's
Yeah.
like, that's just what we do naturally and instinctively.
Well, so, like, when you come home, because it's like, "Oh, I'm in this routine," and then you go on vacation, and it feels nice because 'cause you're, like, breaking out of the routine, but then, like, how do you feel when you come home from vacation? Like, do you feel? Because I'm asking because, like, the first day for me is always really hard. I'm, like, super sad, like, I'm not on vacation anymore, and then, like, my first day back to work, I'm like, "Okay, I'm in life now," you know?
Mm-hmm.
So just, like, and then I don't know, does it, like, make you look at things differently? Does it help you get out of the routine? Does it help you stay comfortable with staying in a routine? Like, how do you feel when you come home?
Yeah, when I come home, I feel like a different person. And I was actually talking to your mom about this, where I forget sometimes, and I was talking to you about this too, but I forget how you and me kind of live in different worlds. Whereas, like, I own my own business and I do a lot of like creative things throughout the day. It's almost like I'm pursuing my dream.
Mhm.
Um, and you have like a a legit job, you know what I
Like,
mean? That's
work for a
like
company job
work for a
and
company
yeah.
job, and it's not like you
Commute job.
a commute job, yeah. And it's like you like aspects of your work and you don't like aspects of your work, just like any job.
Yeah.
But it's different because when you come home, you're like, oh, I gotta go to work and I gotta get back into that mindset,
Mhm.
And for us, for me, it's kind of like, I get all these ideas and I'm like, oh, when I go home, I'm gonna do this or that,
Mhm.
and it's like it's just different.
Yeah.
It's a different way. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, it's good. Like, I have to fill my inspiration meter. Like,
Yeah.
it's part of the work. It's part of the job. It's like I got to fill that up. You know.
Especially an entrepreneur of, like, an artist entrepreneur,
Yeah.
when,
Yeah.
like, your well-being and your success is kind of relying on how creative you are or are not.
Yeah, because that's one of the things I don't like about being a creative or being an artist is that it's like mood based. I mean, it is work based too, but artists are notoriously emotional and sensitive people,
Mhm.
and like a bright sunny day can depress you for some reason. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
right.
And like a nice overcast day can like stir up feelings of
Like
inspiration and
today, you were
comfort,
like,
like
"Ooh, it
today.
looks so nice outside."
Yeah, exactly. There's something I like about that, but it's different for everybody. But
Mhm.
in terms of traveling and getting away, you know, you just it's one of the ways that like I find my meter goes up,
Yeah.
my green meter, my green Zelda meter,
Mm-hmm.
the potion meter,
Yeah.
I really feel like that's every person has that
Yeah.
every day. Even if you're not like a creative or an artist, like you have
A meter.
a meter
Mm-hmm.
every day. And yeah, different things can make your meter bigger. Just like in Zelda, you would do certain things and it would like, oh, it
Yeah.
got bigger. So you can fill it more, like meditating,
Yeah.
exercise, traveling. I think
Mm-hmm.
it really expands or broadens your horizon, I guess is
Right.
another way to put it,
Yeah, I feel like I wish I knew because I feel like you're very self-aware, and I feel like I feel like I'm self-aware, but like not quite as self-aware as you, or like I might be feeling a certain way, and like I don't know why I'm feeling that way, and like I guess when I'm thinking about like coming home from a vacation, I started to feel like I guess the whole like getting out of the routine thing, I felt more inspired to try and switch up my routine and like do things because
Mm-hmm.
I felt like every day it was like I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I like eat dinner, like maybe stretch a little bit, watch some TV, and then go to bed. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
that has just never been the life that I wanted to live. So like
Yeah.
going on vacation, I think depresses me so much coming home because then it reminds me about like the life that I live on a daily basis, and
Yeah.
then that inspires me to like change. Like past couple days, I've been trying to do like yoga more, which just physically feels amazing, and then like
Mm-hmm.
meditating for 5 minutes. So I think staying with the routine will be the hardest thing, but
Yeah.
um just like keeping that inspiration going sometimes can be really hard.
Yeah, it can. And it really comes down to, being consistent and breaking through the wall where like I feel like if you do something enough over time, it changes your routine. Like, you know, it creates the habit where, psychologically you it feels awkward and uncomfortable not to do the thing.
Mhm.
Like when you go to the gym, when you start going to the gym or exercising like on a regular basis, if you don't go one day, then you start to feel like uncomfortable
Yeah.
and I really think it's an endorphin withdrawal, I guess, in a sense, but I think it's also just like it's a withdrawal from the new routine or the new habits that you've
Mhm.
made where you're like your brain is telling you like you should be doing something that you haven't done yet,
Yeah.
um yeah, and it's tough because life can take you and spin you around and make you dizzy and then
Mhm.
send you off on a direction. Then you're like, oh, and you're trying to find your way back to that straight line that you had
Yeah.
before, that you made when things were in a certain way. And there's different phases, different seasons, and
Yeah.
you're constantly changing. But I think that's why I like to meditate, even if I'm not doing it the right way, but like just sitting and doing like mantra stuff or
Mhm.
whatever, and my mind sometimes is just all over the place. It's
Yeah.
thinking about Pirates of the Caribbean and Johnny Depp or whatever. Um, but I think that what you get out of it is not, for me. It's not during meditating. It's actually like afterwards. Like I notice certain things, like I can form sentences better, or if I'm trying to think of a word, I can think of that word usually a little bit better.
Like immediately following the session or like just because you're doing it over time? Like are you talking about the long term
Long term,
afterwards or
long
okay.
term. It's not like immediately afterwards.
You're
Sometimes
like, "Oh, I
I'm
meditated today, so when I'm done, I can form sentences better," but it's like, "Oh, I've been doing this every day for a week and now I feel."
Yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes I can be like agitated, um, you know, like right after a session if I'm uncomfortable or whatever. Just like sitting still for enough time is hard enough.
Yeah.
So I'll feel yeah, just
When you're done with your session, sometimes you feel
sometimes,
yeah.
sometimes, yeah.
Because you were still for so long and that's what
Because I was
makes
still for so long and I'm like ready to go.
mine's
But
like the opposite. I remember, I was telling you, like, when I first started meditating, and of course I fell out of the routine, but when I did it for the first time, it was like I was in there, it felt like just the calm and the quiet was so peaceful, like, not having to, like, do anything and, like, the overstimulation of just life?
mhm.
So, like, when I came out here and you were, like, asking me questions, I was like, "Shh." It was like I was agitated after every session that week because it was like, God, like I wanted to like go back in the room and do it again. That's why
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like 5 minutes, man, 5 minutes wasn't long enough because it
Yeah.
was like, man, I'm done already. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I feel like 10 would be better.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like I'll try to do 1 week of 5,
Mm-hmm.
and if I can get through every single day doing at least 5 minutes, then I can graduate to 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then
It's our dog.
our dog's snoring right now.
Scooty-bow.
And then 15 minutes, and then finally up to 20 minutes. I was doing 30 minutes a day at one point, but I found that was just too much to maintain for
Mm-hmm.
me. And
Like while you were doing it, or it was like a time suck in your day or something.
both. It was a time suck, and it was just like to get myself to do 30 minutes was like, I could do it for a week, and then after that it's like, well, where does it go now? Do I go 35 minutes now, and then 40 minutes, and then an hour? Like
All day?
like where does this end?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not a monk,
Yeah.
like I can't just retreat into myself like all day.
Yeah.
You
And that's
know?
not why you're doing it either.
No.
It's like find the amount of time that works for you and just stop there.
Exactly.
Because it's like you're not doing it like a lifter, like well, more and more. It's like that's the point of what
Yeah.
you're doing probably, but meditating, it's like just find whatever works for you.
And it's going to really change once the baby's born.
Back to 5 minutes every day. No, I'm just
Well, that's
joking.
the thing is like, I'm going to have to really get creative about it. And if I really, feel like I need it, it's like I can go in my car and sit for like 5 minutes, while you're watching the baby or whatever, like
Yeah.
when he takes a little nap, it's not like I'm going to fall asleep. It's like I'm just like, sitting there. If he starts
Yeah.
crying, I'm going to obviously come out of my meditation.
Well, it's funny too because it's like when you meditate, you like to go like in the bedroom, close the door. It's like you're alone. It's quiet. You like create your environment, and like I feel like the past couple days when I do yoga back here, and I would just like I'm just gonna sit here and cross-legged and do it here. And one of the main reasons I wanted to do that was because like during birth, like if I'm gonna use this for birth, I'm not gonna be in a bedroom by myself. It's like
Yeah.
there are gonna be distractions. So I was like over here and I could hear you like moving in your chair and like something that I started doing, it was like relaxing myself. I learned this in one of my pregnancy books. Relaxing yourself, like starting from the top and like going down. So like every time I would feel like distracted, I started to feel like insecure, like you were gonna come talk to me and you'd like break me out of my meditation. So I'd like start calming myself from head to toe and I completely like forgot that you were there.
Is it like a body scan?
I guess, like,
Is it
I
like
did
you-
my own version, like, I don't know exactly what it said, but
Yeah.
it's like I started, like, with the top of my head. It was like relaxing yourself.
Yeah.
So starting with the top of your head and then, like, your facial muscles, like, relax your face and then relax your shoulders, and then, of course, you get down here, which will be hard when there's contractions, and then it's like, relax your legs, and then you get down to the bottom, and then I would just start from the top, and then I would keep going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think it's technically like a body scan, which
Yeah.
is, and it's fun to do sometimes too if you're like having trouble wanting to meditate. There's stuff on like iTunes and YouTube. Hopefully there's no commercials, but it's basically like it's guided meditations. And those are really nice. There's like calming music and then somebody's like guiding you through the process. And
music. Do you listen to music when you meditate at all, or is it just silence?
if I'm listening to music, there's I'm going to give a little shout out. There's a band called, or it might just be one person, I'm not sure, but it's called Metatron Omega.
Yeah.
And it is like, it's very ambient. It's kind of dark.
It sounds like it wouldn't be ambient.
It's very ambient, like big reverbs, big, like just everything sounds like a huge landscape.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of epic because it's a little bit dark,
Yeah.
but like those are the kinds of sessions where it's like I feel like I went through something and you're like battling maybe with like dark forces in your mind.
Yeah.
And then you come out of it and you're like, all right, like you feel like you it's almost like you see life significantly then after that, because you're like, but yeah, I'll put that on sometimes. And like I said, it's creepy, it's weird, it's like witchy, and
Ooh, I
like
want to like hear what it sounds like. I feel
yeah,
like it would scare me. That's another thing. So when I would meditate in the bedroom, it would be like dark,
yeah.
and I would start to have like I was alone in the dark, and it was like I
Mm-hmm.
would start to have like dark
Am I gonna be
thoughts.
possessed or something?
Yeah, I'm like I'm
Like,
alone
yeah,
in this room. Is there like a spirit behind me that's like she's alone? You know? I was like
yeah.
I've just been really enjoying doing it in the light in the out here. So I'm
Wherever
like
it works, man. Wherever it works. It's
I'll just put a little meditating hat on so that you know.
well, if you have headphones in, or if
Yeah,
like if I
yeah.
see you, like
You just won't.
the
And I
other
figured that
yeah, like the other
you'd see
day
me.
when I
Yeah.
was having my conversation and I like came out of the room and you were just there, I was like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
don't bother her, because I take it seriously. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like I take that. I've been wanting you to, experience the, I don't know, the benefits of meditation.
Yeah.
Is he kicking?
Yeah, you just get kicked once. I was like, whew. It's always hard for me to just ignore it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I have to be like, yeah, yes.
I just was gonna come and get my stuff out of the dryer.
Come get it.
You have to see, look at our setup.
Wow.
Come
We're-
here.
I can't look at that. I might get a migraine.
Oh,
Yeah, don't look at it
that's
then.
okay.
Too bright for me. What
That's
is
okay.
that?
It's just we're like recording and
We're doing a podcast.
We're doing a
Sorry,
podcast.
like-
No, this is great. This is good stuff here.
Oh my goodness gracious.
it's not like live.
Yeah,
we're
don't
just,
worry.
Yeah, we're just having fun with all the
You better
equipment
not
and stuff.
be live. Jesus Christ, if you're live, you better let me know. I don't want to be on that.
Well, you're gonna be a guest one time. We're gonna do Talks with Diane with you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kelsey's gonna do it with you. It's gonna be awesome.
Wow.
And we can do Dad's Staten Island stories. Become famous.
But we'll figure out a way to make it brighter in here so that
Oh, wow.
brighter without this light, so you don't get a migraine.
Right.
But yeah,
Or
that's,
you can wear sunglasses, which would be awesome.
That, I would do that.
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be great. Talks
Yeah,
with
we can
Diane.
both wear shades. Like you both can wear shades with Talks with Diane.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna do Staten Island stories also with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you get that on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're doing it. I just noticed in this camera, it looks like the light is like right above my head. You see it?
does. You've got an idea all the time.
Yeah. So we're still trying to think of a decent name for this podcast.
Well, so what did we? Because we still disagree on the TV, right? The TV versus dinner versus breakfast.
It doesn't matter. Like
So
the
what was?
JK dinner tray, I think rolls off the tongue better.
But
But
even though
there's-
it's 8 a.m.
But
Well, not
there's
8 in the
no
morning.
but there's no
It's
dinner
10 in the
tray.
morning.
There's
Yeah.
no dinner tray in front of us. Is it working? Yeah. Okay. Good.
I even looked up Basement Dwellers podcast.
I know, but that's the thing. Is everything's taken to
Yeah.
some degree. So you just got to be clever. You got to be Lil Nas X,
Yeah.
and not just Nas. So maybe we're the JKX podcast, but then
Yeah.
it kind of sounds
Yeah,
like it's
right.
like a porno or something like that.
Double X.
Triple X podcast. But no, yeah, there's all kinds of names, so it'll probably evolve and change, which that's what things do.
I know.
You
I
know?
like the JK.
I do too. The JK coffee corner, coffee
can-
couch.
Coffee couch. That's not bad. JK
Mhm.
coffee couch.
It's not bad.
Yeah, because
It's
we're on
not
a couch.
great either.
JK
though.
loves seat couch. Coffee.
The JK love seat.
Oh, I thought I spilled my coffee.
Oh no, I actually have to take a pee break real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bio
so-
break.
What's that?
Bio break.
Is
That's
that
what
it's
everyone
called?
at work calls it. Like if you're in a meeting, they're like, "I need a bio break."
Yeah. I guess that's the most PC way that you can say that.
Ugh.
Yep. Just little things.
Yeah, where did we leave off?
We left off talking about meditating
Mm.
and yeah, just little things, little things. And really it's whatever helps you as a person, like the things that are bad for you. And when you find things that are actually good for you, those are usually the hardest pills to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
you know that it's like, this is going to be good for me. And I do feel better,
Yeah.
like in a real positive, genuine way whenever I, start doing this or,
Yeah.
like exercising regularly and getting out in the sun and, meditating, whatever. It's like, and it's so hard to stay in that routine, even though you kind of know that it's the best thing for you.
I know, and that's what remember yesterday I was like, man, when I'm like meditating and I'm doing yoga, I'm enjoying it so much while I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm like doing nothing, like sitting on the couch watching TV, it's like I feel depressed. So it's like, why? It's like the whole resistance thing,
Mm-hmm.
like battling resistance. Like, why is it so hard to do something that is going to make you happy? Like, what is that?
So the other day I was driving around a little bit, and I was listening to people talking about Carl Jung, who was a philosopher, I think maybe a psychologist or something like that. But he was, some kind of a philosopher in terms of like the way that he thought about I honestly don't know that much about him, but I know I've heard of his name, and I know that, you know what I mean? Like, you've heard of Carl Jung.
Yeah, I just like, if someone was like, tell me something about Carl Jung, I'd be like, I don't know.
And, he talks about, one of his big things was the shadow, whereas like you as a person, you have this facade that you tell yourself that you think you are, the thing that the person you strive to be, but it always casts a shadow, and that shadow is also a part of you as well. Kind of like the Peter Pan thing, what I mean? Yeah. It's like it's connected to you in a way, and like your shadow is like, it's all the stuff about you that still exists. It's unseen to everybody else and to yourself even. But it's his take on it is to like get to know the shadow and understand it, because the further you try to get away from it, the bigger the shadow gets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It overtakes you.
It can overtake you. You know what I mean? But it's almost like the further you try to get away from it, the bigger it appears. So it's almost like getting closer to it, you kind of understand things about yourself. Like you should write down the stuff that that you notice about yourself, the dark paths that you go down voluntarily or voluntarily or involuntarily. I mean, it's good to get to know those things, like the resistance factor, the war of art, it's like if you get to know it a little bit more, it loses its power, I feel like, because you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know why I do this, because of this, you know? So it's a study of self, basically, is like understanding yourself, understanding the good sides and the bad sides of yourself, because you have, we're two sides of the same coin, and you've got light and you've got dark, and, you've got positive and negative.
Well, so you don't usually write stuff down, though, do you? Like, because remember how I was saying, I feel like you're very self-aware, but I don't, like, I write, and I'm less self-aware than you are somehow,
Yeah, sometimes I do. I should do it more often. Like, this is only new. Like, this was, like, last week that I was listening to this stuff, so.
I feel like when the day comes and I like pass away, because I have so many journals, and I've always been like, man, whoever reads these one day is gonna be like, she was depressed a lot, and I'm gonna be like, I only write when I need to write. So it's like, by nature, everything in my journals is really like, God, like, I just don't know what to do today. Like, I write lists of the things that like are bothering me, and then like I chip away, at like trying to solve them and stuff like that. So I feel like our children and our grandchildren are gonna be like, Grandma was just like such a basket case.
Yeah. Well, now if we do these podcasts regularly, then they'll be able to see these and get to know us.
Very true.
We get to learn a lot.
Otto's debut.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be great when he's like here and we're trying to do the podcast and he's reaching up for the microphone.
I know,
it's going to be
right?
so cute.
I'm like, bleh.
Yeah. I would like to just keep doing these too. It's fun. It's weird, but when you have headphones on and you're talking through a mic and you got cameras on you and stuff like that, it's almost like the conversation almost becomes like more meaningful in a way, like not like we care like if anybody sees this or watches this. Right? It's not like that. It's like, oh, people are going to love us. It's not like that. It's just like, this is more about, we were having a conversation like this on our way to our trip, and we were like, oh, we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And we were talking in the car, and it was a 3-hour trip that felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we were just like so excited the whole time, and like, you
It
know,
was
like
so short.
it was so short. And
Even coming home, we didn't listen to music at all on the
Mm-mm.
way there or the way back.
or
I
the
don't
way back,
think.
no.
Yeah.
We didn't listen to anything.
I know.
You know, we just talked, and yeah, it feels the same way right now. You know, like we got some coffee.
You're forced to be engaged too.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. I feel like forced is probably not the best word to use, but it's like,
We're forcing ourselves.
yeah, it's like listening to music. You know, when you say like people listen to music, they're usually doing something else. They don't normally just sit in a chair and like listen to music.
Yeah.
You know, but when you do that, like what else are you hearing? You know, it's like when you sit in this environment and have a conversation, you're kind of like forced to be extra engaged, you know, with the other person and to like really think about what they're saying and how you feel about what they're saying, you know?
Yeah, it's so true. And yeah, talking about like listening to music, you know, I definitely one day want to have a room that has a couch in it, or like, you know, like a chair, just something comfortable, you know, like even just like maybe 2 of these. Maybe this will end up in there.
Staying in all.
But I want it to be like acoustically like close to perfect, and, you know, have good, you know, surround sound or stereo.
Would it be the same room as a recording room?
No, I wouldn't want it to be. I'd almost want it to be.
You think it would have the same?
I mean, if it was, that's fine. You know, if my music studio is in there, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know.
I was just thinking acoustically it would have the same requirements.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and there would be a sweet spot in the room. So yeah, it probably would end up being the same room. But yeah, just like being able to put on a record and bring down the lights and just close your eyes and listen to music, and just like actively listen to music, which. I'm always driving when I listen to music, or like working out.
Yeah.
You know, like that's pretty much when I'm listening to music. Like,
yeah.
You
You're
know?
doing it while you're doing something else.
Yeah. Sometimes
you know?
when I go for, like, if I go for a walk, which is, you know, rare when I'm going for a walk by myself.
Yeah.
But if I go for a walk by myself, sometimes it is nice to just like put on some music.
Or when it was really cold, if you would take Scooty Bum.
Yeah. Yeah. I would take Scooty Bum, our dog, Scooty Bum, AKA Carmen.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I feel like I've been talking a lot, so.
We've both been talking a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a podcast.
Yeah. You ever get like self-conscious though, or like you're thinking about like, am I talking too much? Do I seem
in life
like...
or during this podcast?
Both, you know?
No, I think there's just sometimes you'll talk a lot, sometimes I'll talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like when you listen to a podcast. Like sometimes you listen to Joe Rogan and you're like, he has not let the other person talk in like 20 minutes. Joe, shut up. No, I'm just joking. No, but like that happens in when you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like you watch someone get like really into something, and it's like you just want to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No.
it's very true.
You're good. Your button's unbuttoned. It's been bothering me.
Oh, this button.
Yeah.
This button?
It's not the bottom button.
I know, I do that all the time.
Is your zipper down too?
Nope. No, it's just typical of me, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it feels good to do this.
We'll have to make a list of
Topics and things.
Well, it's funny because I mean, even during this podcast, remember I was like, we're just gonna talk about travel. Like, do we have like? I felt like we needed like an itinerary, and I didn't expect it to flow.
Yeah, I think
At least from our perspectives.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I feel like it's flowing. I thought it was gonna be like, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think it helps to have like at least one thing. That's like the
start with
the
something.
doorway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like bologna sandwiches, and you can start there, you know, and then move through, because there really with every little topic,
Yeah.
it's just the tip of the iceberg,
Yeah.
and you have millions of memories about
Right.
it, like bologna sandwiches, for example, right? I can talk about like it would take me right back to like being a kid.
Is that the first thing you think of?
Yeah. Like the lunchroom and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
eating sandwiches and being like, I don't know if I like these sandwiches. I don't know if I like mustard on that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But you eat it anyway because it's like, I must eat. Like,
Yeah, I think of my dad wouldn't let my mom buy bologna when we were kids.
really?
Because I guess like he was pretty poor growing up, so his mom would buy bologna and they would eat it all the time. So he associates it with like poor man's meat.
Yeah.
So he was like, "You bought the kids bologna? Can't you get some ham or some turkey?" And so like my mom just like she's like, "I just won't buy bologna." Like, I don't
Yeah.
remember eating bologna because my dad was like, didn't want it in the house.
Well, that's why I'm so glad that we discovered mortadella. Because
It's so
mortadella
good.
is bologna
Pistachio.
for adults.
Yeah.
You know?
Pis-
Or you know, whatever. I don't even want to say it like that. Because if you like bologna, good for you. But you should switch to mortadella.
Mortadella is also
If
lighter.
you're over the age of 8 years old, you should switch to mortadella. Because
bologna.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're allergic to nuts, you can't have it because it has pistachios in it usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's even better. Yeah.
Add some class.
Oh man.
Without the pistachios, it's just thinly sliced bologna.
When we were so we traveled around Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we got engaged, was Santorini. So we
So
started in
fun.
Bulgaria for a wedding, and then we went to Santorini. We got engaged.
Mhm.
You had no idea.
I had no idea.
I presented the ring to you upside down, which was hilarious.
The box was shaped in such a way where
Yeah.
it made sense to open it that way, you
Mhm.
know? It was like the small part on
Yeah.
top, but it was actually the bottom.
Yeah.
I remember I was like,
I know. I was actually nervous. I felt like I was asking you out for the first time. It was like,
like you knew I was going to say yes.
yeah. Yeah, I figured,
Yeah.
you know, but, because I was like, we're in Santorini and we still have 2 weeks of this trip left. There's no way she's going to say
Yeah.
no.
I was like, why is he inside so long? What is taking him so long? It was like, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
and then like, it was so nice, you know, like, and then like you actually put some music on for a minute. I
Mm-hmm.
remember being like, why is he putting music on? Like, it was so out of your character. You were doing a couple things that were out of your character. You ended up turning it off,
Mhm.
you know, but, yeah, it was just like,
I think it was like Tame Impala or something.
yeah, I was
you
like,
know,
what's he doing in there?
That's
you
usually,
know?
that was like our like road trip music, you know,
Mhm.
listening to like Currents and stuff. That was like our go-to. But
That's like our album.
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, we
Um,
went to Santorini.
Yeah, we
got
went to
engaged.
Santorini, got engaged, and then we went to Rome for like 2 days.
Not enough.
Not
yeah.
enough. And then, well, we were trying to do like the full Europe tour,
Yeah.
all planned by you, by the way, which was great. And just doing train rides from Rome all the way up and ending up in Belgium.
Yeah. Well, we stopped in
And-
Florence.
We stopped in Florence. Yeah. So we stopped in Switzerland too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the only thing I wanted to point out was because we were talking about mortadella.
Oh, yeah.
And when we were leaving, I think it was Florence.
I think it was Florence, yeah.
Because we had partied with the son of some diplomat the night before that we just met randomly, and he took us to his friend's steakhouse that he just opened up, an actual Florentine steakhouse.
It was dope.
It was so dope, and we were just hanging out with them, like hanging out with like locals, which was like
Yeah.
that's what you want. That's what I want when I travel. I
Yeah.
don't want to like stay at the sterile hotel and
Yeah.
like, you know, like hello sir. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that is
It's,
fun.
yeah.
That's great, but sometimes you want to be like, hey, where do the locals eat?
Yeah, yeah.
Like where, like
Because they know something we don't.
yeah, you want to ask the person who's working at the hotel, like, hey, where do you go? You know, like, oh, I'm going to my friend's barbecue, and you guys are cool. Do you
It's
guys
like,
want to come? And it's
ooh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you seem trustworthy enough.
Yeah.
And
We ended up
2
in a
hours later,
club.
you're in a cage. You know.
Yeah. A cage.
But yeah, we ended up in some club that was
Taken.
just a complete sausage fest.
Yeah. I
And
was,
it was
pretty drunk, so I don't remember.
Wall-to-wall dudes, and I was like, oh my god, Kelsey, you were the only, you were like one of maybe 10 girls in a
God.
sea of like 50 dudes, and they're all just like,
Dude, they stare over in Europe too. Like, I feel like American men are very discreet and they're like a little bit more insecure.
well, because we don't want to get
honestly.
canceled, man. You know, that's,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like,
but
hey, you
even,
looking at me too long?
but honestly,
Tweet about this.
even when I studied abroad, because that was 2012, that was before the cancel culture, you
Mhm.
know? And I just remember like being like, why are they staring? Like, and they were just so like, hello, like they were very forward. And I was like, oh my, like it was unattractive.
It was too much.
It was like a little bit too much,
Yeah,
you know? Like,
yeah.
I want to be the aggressor.
Keep getting off topic.
Yeah. Mortadella.
The mortadella. And it started from bologna sandwiches, but we're heading now in this tangent.
See, we could have started a podcast.
We could have
just
started with bologna
sandwiches.
sandwiches. But yeah, so we went out and we partied with this son of a diplomat
And all of his friends.
and all of his friends, and got to bed probably at like 3, and we had to like check out and catch a train by like 11, I think.
Yeah, we didn't have a ticket for the train, by the way,
Oh,
to
we
go
had
to
to go buy the
Switzerland. Remember, we
tickets.
were like, we'll just try to get there early and hope we get a ticket to Switzerland.
Oh my god! And I was just so hungover
It was raining.
I was nauseous. It was raining, and we had to walk, I think, like at least a mile.
A mile or two.
A mile or two. But I mean, when you're hungover,
and you have all of our backpack.
We were backpacking. Yeah, but I remember we stopped. They had all these little sandwich shops in Florence. And they were all exactly the same, but a little different. But they all had like these prepackaged just sandwiches. And I was thinking like, well, this train ride's going to be like, what, 8 hours?
Maybe longer.
Maybe longer.
12.
8 to 12 hours. And I was like,
because of the stops. And
I don't know if they serve food on these trains. I don't know what we're going to do. So I was like, we need to buy like
all of them.
Every sandwich we can.
We did. They had like 5 sandwiches in the window. And I think we were like, we'll take them all.
Yeah. And I remember I was just like, we got to the train station. And you went and got some gelato. Oh, yeah. And that was nice because it was just like cold, fruity. But that's where I discovered those mortadella sandwiches. And I was like, man.
These are dope.
I think it was just like cheese, mortadella on like ciabatta.
Yeah.
And was there
some kind of ciabatta.
Was there any spread? Maybe like
I don't know.
Like an olive tapenade or something like that? I don't know.
I feel like it was very basic.
Yeah. But it was like lifeblood. It was like, oh. Like I instantly, like the bread soaked it up, which makes me so happy that I haven't, felt that way, and since New Year's.
Oh, hungover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't been hungover. The last time I drank was the day before I found out we were pregnant, which was October 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
We partied with my dad at Memories, watching the Giants game, and then the following Monday.
Is that what it was?
Pregnant.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't hungover though, because I had to work the next day.
Yeah, but yeah,
so
I definitely don't miss that.
Time.
Don't miss that.
December, January, February, March. It's been 5 months.
Yeah, I definitely miss like, I don't know, the social aspect of things. Like hanging out with people who are also like loose, and it's like there's something kind of freeing about that also. Or liberating, I guess, is the better word. You just kind of feel like, oh, I let my hair down. I got out some demons or whatever, But
I don't feel that way at all, honestly. Like I feel like, I don't know, it was just so easy to go overboard and like not remember conversations I was even having with people, or like remembering like pieces of conversations. And I would always be like, God, what did I say to that person? Like, did I even feel that way? Like, I feel like I would talk about things that I like didn't even really care about or feel when you drink, and then like the next day you're like, why did I say that? I don't even feel that way, but you remember feeling that way in the moment, So it's like, and just the whole social lubricant thing, like I would feel really anxious around like groups of people because it was like, oh, I'm not drinking, I need a drink, and then once you're not drinking, it's like, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I don't need a drink, at all.
Well, maybe that kind of like comes back around to that whole like Carl Jung thing, like maybe when we do drink, maybe that's us kind of like getting in touch with our shadow sometimes, it's like, because you're just like, you're getting in touch with that part of yourself that wants to like self-sabotage in a sense, like not to take it too extreme, because it's not like every time somebody drinks they're self-sabotaging, but it's like saying things you don't mean, but maybe you do mean them. Maybe there's a little part of you that does mean it in the moment, but then when you come out of it or whatever, and you're on the other side, it's like, oh, okay, like.
But you can also feel things in the moment that you feel that you wouldn't say. It's kind of like when I'm writing something in a journal. It's like you vent a little bit, but it's like, it's not how you feel every day. It's kind of, that's just how you feel in that moment, and you need to write about it. Like, that's how I feel like when you're drinking and you feel something really intense. It's like, maybe there's a little bit of truth to it in that moment, but it's not like I've gotten mad at you for things before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why did I even, and then the next day I'm like, I guess I was mad in the moment, but like, why was it such a big deal? It wasn't at all,
Yeah, that's the problem, is when it turns to like anger, that's when it's like a bad thing. I think that's when it's like people start to say like, I think you have a problem. 'Cause every time you drink, you get angry.
Yeah.
And that's,
for me, it was whiskey.
Yeah, it's like if you're fun and you're like relatively maintained, and you're not like, you can take care of yourself. You don't have to constantly be babysat or whatever. It's like, it's like in small doses, short supply. It's not. I don't think it's a terrible thing. So I'm not gonna like say that it's awful or anything like that. But again, it's just like how you use it. It's like any tool. It's like anything. Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I love coffee. This is my second cup of coffee. You know, should I have a third and a fourth? Probably not. But will I? Maybe.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you know, because I love the caffeine high. I love it, you know.
Yeah, and I've been trying, obviously, as you know, to not drink a lot. So on the days when I do have it, it's like such a treat.
It's a treat. It's a treat for you, yeah. And
like
I got
with
to
the caffeine in it.
I got to a point, you know, one year where I was doing the same thing, like tea throughout the week, and then I'd have like 1 cup of coffee on the weekend, and it'd be like,
it's amazing.
It'd be amazing, yeah. But yeah, so.
That being said, I'm still excited to like when Otto's born, like let's go to the winery and like get a bottle of wine and we'll each have like a couple glasses.
Yeah,
you know?
and hang
it's
out.
like and just have it be like not saying we're never gonna like party and go out and do some crazy things, you know, like when Natty and Pop Pop or when Grandma and Grandpa up the street want to babysit. It's like maybe it'll be fun one night to go to Frederick and just freaking go nuts, you know, once in a while. But it's like I just don't want it to be like who I am.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I feel like that's kind of how it was before. It was like I would always just like it was like, oh, like this weekend what are we gonna do? We're gonna drink. And it's like I just want it to be like a little added thing to certain events, not like the reason for the weekend coming, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, it's typical to go through those phases, you know, especially, you know, when you're young. It's like you can't drink your entire, you know, teenage life. And then you get to a point.
You're not supposed to.
We're not supposed to. But then when you can, it's funny though, because when I turned 21, I remember the first time I went to a liquor store, it was probably like months after, you know, the first time I came home from work and like bought some beer.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Because it wasn't a typical thing.
Yeah.
It's funny because I would go to parties and drink, but I wouldn't just drink at home like on an afternoon. But I remember the first time I did it, it was like I was working at PetSmart and I came home one day and it was like, I think it was rainy or something, but when I was living with Cody at the time and we were living in Parkville and I was just kind of like, it was a Sunday. It wasn't rainy. I remember it was like Sunday and it's like the sun was just kind of going down just a little bit. It was a nice warm day.
Yeah. So the opposite of what you thought.
Opposite of what I thought. And I was like, I'm going to go get a little 6-pack.
Yeah.
And hang out. And I remember it being like, oh, this is nice. Like, this is good, you know? And it was special.
Yeah.
But then after a while, it got routine. And then
well,
it was
that's
like.
the thing. It's like, why does it happen later in life? Like, my mom always used to talk about, like, when I'm like, oh, like when she talks about her wedding, she got married when she was 18. You know, my parents got married when they're 18. It's like, she's like, I barely remember my wedding. I barely even drank at my wedding. And I'm like, I feel like I drank in high school, but it was still just like only at parties. It's not like I would like sit at home on a Tuesday and be like, God, I wish I had a beer.
Yeah.
You know, and then even in college, it was like, oh, we're going to like go to Tiger Fest, you know, and we're going to drink all day or we're going to go to a party. But it wasn't like, then like I go home and do my homework and I'm like, God, I wish I had a beer. Like I never really had that like alcohol desire. Yeah. Until like after college when I was like working. And it was like, what does that tell you?
I think it's about what's occupying your mind.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Like the busyness. Like you're not busy enough when you just like leave. Because when you're in school, high school, you've got like a bunch of friends. College, you're like doing school and you've got a bunch of friends. It's like you're constantly moving, you're going around places. And then like you graduate. That's why probably so many people gain weight, you know, after college.
Because
it's
you
like you stop moving.
Stop moving around. Yeah. And I think that to a large part, it's like I don't want to blame society because I think we make our own choices, but I think it benefits like society and the government structure as a whole, us being the government, you know, that people produce and consume. You know what I mean? Like you produce work or products and things like that, and then when you are done, then you consume, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's helpful, or it's not helpful, but it's like it's ideal if you go to work in the morning and you're doing stuff, you're being productive, and you're contributing to society in some way,
right?
And then when you come home, you consume other things that other people have produced,
right?
It's like this like
it's a cycle.
Cyclical thing.
The economy.
Yeah. So it doesn't really like, you know, to some degree they want you to. I say they.
Yeah, who's they?
Yeah, that's the thing. They, us, maybe it's us.
Commercial, you know.
Yeah, it's like it's beneficial if you go to work, you take care of your family, you make sure that they don't grow up to be POSs, and, that they're good people in society. And then, when you come home, it's like, okay, now relax, have a beer, eat some food, maybe get some Chipotle tonight, because you worked hard today. You don't feel like cooking.
We justify, like, I work today.
Yeah. Should I do a podcast? Say, don't worry about it. Just watch some TV. Watch some Big Bang Theory. It feels good.
Feels good going down.
Feels good going down. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and then all of a sudden, then you're, things happen over time. So it's just like, how do you boil a frog, right? Have you ever heard that term? Yeah. You put them into cold water that they're used to, and you slowly turn up the temperature before,
they don't even realize.
They don't hop out. Yeah. And that's... Which who would boil a frog anyway? You know what I mean? Like these weird terms.
Well, plenty of countries probably.
Yeah, they're like, dude, frog.
Or this
frog
country.
Fridays. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Have you eaten frog legs?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Pittsburgh, of all places. They had an interesting little restaurant. They weren't good. None of the food there was good.
In Pittsburgh?
No, I wouldn't say Pittsburgh as a whole. I'm just saying
just
this
that
restaurant.
Place you went.
Restaurant, I can't remember the name of it so long ago, but it's like there's some places you go to sometimes, and you're like, everything seemed like the atmosphere is great. Everything seems like the food would be great, and then you eat the food, and you're like,
oh, at a restaurant.
At a restaurant,
it's kind of like the taco place we went to at a.
Yeah, we won't name.
Yeah,
we won't name it because I don't want to. Because it could have just been a fluke that night. It was.
It's also off season.
It was a Sunday evening, and there was like barely anybody there. But yeah, it's like you get a taco and there's like no sauce on it. It's dry.
You had to ask to put cheese on it.
You had to ask to put cheese on it.
Potato chips on the side.
Potato chips on the side.
They should clearly have been.
Yeah, tortilla chips. Yeah, it's just and it's like. Hey, well, we'll be ironic.
We were so excited.
It seemed like they were trying to be ironic in ways, but it's like, no, man, it's a taco place. I want some homemade tortilla chips.
Yeah, the dry ass meat, no cheese, no sour cream, no sauce.
Yeah, we'd ask for sour cream too. It's like,
it was like dry meat. The tortillas were good.
Were they good?
They were like a good texture. They were like real
homemade.
Yeah, like they felt like they were small, but they were like a little bit more homemade, not just like the stuff you get from the grocery store.
Yeah.
And that was about. The corn was good, but again, it should have been warm.
It should have been hot. Cold. It was cold. It was cold corn. Who wants,
Cone.
It's like, yeah, who wants that? Yeah.
Nobody.
Speaking of corn, our epic night of watching Secret Window, again, talking about Johnny Depp.
That was awesome.
And maybe this will bring it full circle. Yeah, we'll bring it full circle, and then we'll end soon. But
we'll start with Johnny Depp, and we'll end with him.
I got us, it was like last summer. It was a nice warm night, and I made T-bone steaks because they were on sale.
Yeah.
And
did you get them from Wagner's?
I got them from Wagner's.
Shout out Wagner's.
Wagner's Mount Airy Meat Locker, also known as. And then I got a bunch of corn from
Corn on the Cob.
Corn on the Cob from, is it Nils Farm?
I think so.
I think it's called Nils Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, and it was just the best corn too. I think I had to buy like 12. And I was like, who's going to eat this? And I sat there.
Turns out you.
And I ate so much of that corn, man. It was the strangest bowel movement the next day, let me tell you what.
Oh, God. Probably felt
it was like a machine gun.
I'm picturing it.
Yeah, but yeah, we watched Secret Window because, the end of the movie, it's about like,
well,
I don't want to spoil it, but
I mean, it's an old movie at this point. We probably
fine.
could,
but still, I don't like doing that for people. It's like watch Secret Window.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's classic Stephen
corn,
King. Yeah, but there's an ending scene with him eating corn.
I don't think I even knew that it was Stephen King. How bad is that?
Yeah, it's Stephen King.
Is there a book called The Secret Window?
I don't know. I don't want to say yeah and then be wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's a Stephen King. It's got all the makings of a Stephen King.
Yeah. Todd Downey said as he helped himself from an.
Yeah. I guess you haven't seen it that many times.
I know. It sucks when you mess up a quote.
It's okay.
It's like, I swear I know it really well.
But yeah, that always makes me want to become, later on in life, hopefully I've accomplished a couple things and I can become the cigarette smoking alcoholic writer that lives by the lake that I've always wanted to be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like when Louis C.K. talks about like the romantic aspect of just becoming a drunk.
Yeah.
I've felt that before.
I know,
you
me too.
like-
We were just talking about how we're glad we're not drinking, and then we're like, wouldn't it be great if we were just hammered all the time, just looking out of a dark window, like, it's bright again.
Well, it's like my Uncle Ray would always talk about like his sister, and she was like an artist, and she was like super quirky, I guess, and she would like, I guess when she didn't have a lot of money, she would go and it was like she didn't have money for canvas, so she would buy like or not even buy, she would get old wallpaper and she would gesso the back and she would just do all of these paintings on the back of wallpaper, and she would just sit in the basement all day and like drink wine and paint. And apparently she like drank a little bit too much, but I'm like, God, that just sounds fantastic.
True artist,
you know,
man.
like,
True artist, yeah.
drink wine and get drunk all day and paint.
Yeah, I need like a reason to make art. I know that might sound terrible, but it's like I need like a bigger reason to make it, not just to make it. Like
We should make that like the next subject of our next podcast, because I feel like
The
I'd
life
have a
of an
lot.
artist?
Yeah, just like
Okay.
the struggle, especially like me. You know, there's so many entries in my journals. I keep looking back there because that's where all my journals are sitting. But just like, oh God, I wish I'm an artist. I know I have talent, but like I just never feel like creating. But then sometimes when I force myself to, it's like I end up enjoying it. But yeah, I think that's like that'd be a good topic.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I think this concludes our pilot.
Yeah. And did we come up with a name? Maybe, at least like for now.
It's definitely gonna be JK something.
But what was the one
maybe
that
not.
during bathroom break, or was it right before bathroom
JK
break?
Coffee Couch.
JK Coffee Couch.
It kind of rolls too.
I like it.
JK Coffee Couch. Like
And
it
it's like-
fits.
It's coffee.
Yeah.
And couch.
So you've joined us for the JK Coffee Couch
Podcast number 1.
podcast number 1. What do you say when you like insert name here? What is that called?
I don't know.
Working title.
Oh,
Working title JK Coffee Couch.
there we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cool.